Have you ever noticed how incredibly easy it is to judge a bad driver?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's practically a reflex at this point.
Right. Like you are just cruising down the highway, minding your own business, and suddenly someone totally swerves into your lane.
Yeah, cutting you off completely.
Exactly. Or, maybe they just blast through a yellow light that was definitely already turning red.
Oh, I hate that.
And the immediate reaction, well, at least for me, is just instant anger. You grip the steering wheel and think, what an absolute jerk.
You immediately assume they are just a terrible, reckless person.
Exactly. We make that danger entirely about their personal morality, but we never really stop to wonder what invisible force might be, pushing their foot on the gas pedal.
And that's actually a deeply ingrained psychological reflex. We see a dangerous action on the road, and we just immediately attribute it to a character flaw.
Because it's easy, right?
Right. Right. It is so much harder to spot the context surrounding that vehicle in a split second. I mean, we just assume everyone on the road is operating with the same baseline of freedom.
And the same amount of time.
Yeah, the same time, the same financial cushion to make those safe, leisurely choices.
Which is, quite honestly, such a comfortable illusion. And bursting that exact illusion is kind of our whole mission today.
It's a very necessary mission, too.
For sure. So, welcome to this deep dive. Today, we are exploring this really fascinating set of ideas, specifically focusing on Chapter 5 of the book HarGhar Se EkSainik.
There is so much to unpack in just that one chapter.
There really is. Our goal today is to look completely past the steering wheel. We are going to explore all these hidden structural pressures, right?
The unforgiving deadlines, the algorithms.
Yes, and those glaring infrastructure gaps. We're looking at the things that force perfectly rational, normal people into making incredibly dangerous, life-threatening choices on the road.
And I think it's going to change how people see their daily commute.
I can promise you, by the end of this conversation, you listening will never look at a speeding delivery bike or an erratic auto rickshaw or even a dug-up pothole the exact same way again.
The shift in perspective here is just profound. Unsafe driving isn't always a bad habit.
Or a moral failure.
Right, exactly. Very often, it's just the direct result of economic survival mathematics.
Survival mathematics, I like that phrase.
Yeah, it's about understanding these massive, invisible systems that surround the driver long before they ever even merge onto the highway.
So let's jump right into probably the most visceral example of this from the chapter. It's something referred to as the illusion of pure choice.
This is a great place to start.
So picture a commercial truck driver. He is handed a fixed 72-hour target to drive a fully loaded multi-ton truck from Delhi to Mumbai and back.
Which is just, I mean, physically, that is an agonizing turnaround time.
Right, just the logistics of that route alone.
You are dealing with over 1,400 kilometers each way. And that time frame, it doesn't account for state border checks at all.
Or unpredictable traffic jams.
Exactly. Or vehicle breakdowns, bad weather. The supply chain that assigned that route basically just operates on a spreadsheet.
And spreadsheets only measure arrival times. They don't really care about human biology.
They absolutely do not.
But wait, playing devil's advocate here, if he is tired, why doesn't he just pull over? I mean, surely a logistics company would rather have a slightly late shipment than a completely destroyed truck.
You would definitely think so, right? But the economic structure actually punishes the driver directly.
Oh, really? How so?
If the shipment is delayed, the financial penalty isn't just absorbed by some massive corporate budget. It is frequently deducted directly from the driver's wages.
Wow. So that delay comes right off his family's dinner table.
Exactly. The driver is caught in this terrible vice between his body's absolute biological limits and his family's financial survival.
So it's not even a choice between be safe and be reckless?
No, it's a choice between stay awake or don't get paid.
That is brutal. And that obviously forces a dangerous cascade of events. He pushes through the first day and night, relying on tea, maybe chewing tobacco.
Just sheer willpower, really.
Yeah. But by the third night, he hits this brutal window right between like 2:00 a.m. and 4:00 a.m. on a dark, empty stretch of highway.
And that is when biology stops asking for permission.
Which brings up this concept from the source, the microsleep. I had heard the term before, but reading about the mechanics of it is just terrifying.
Oh, it's deeply unsettling. A microsleep is essentially a localized shutdown of the brain.
Wait, like the brain just turns off?
Pretty much. It's a biological override that lasts anywhere from 1 to 4 seconds. And what makes it so dangerous is that it happens with your eyes completely open.
That is so scary. So you don't even nod off.
Not necessarily. Your brain simply stops processing visual information. And willpower cannot prevent it.
It doesn't matter how determined you are.
It does not matter how terrified you are of crashing either. Your brain just forces the shutdown.
It almost feels like, I don't know, it's like trying to hold your breath underwater.
That's a really good analogy.
Right. Like, you can be the strongest, most disciplined free diver in the world. You can stare at the ticking clock all you want, but eventually your physiology is going to override whatever mental game you are playing.
You are going to gasp for air.
Exactly. And company policy can't stop you from doing it.
That captures the dynamic perfectly.
Yeah.
Because at highway speeds, a 4-second microsleep means a 20-ton vehicle is traveling the length of an entire football field, entirely blind.
With no one effectively at the wheel.
Exactly. The system demanded the delivery, it put the truck on the road, but it built in zero mechanisms to actually verify if the human controlling the machine is conscious.
But surely, I mean, this is where modern cars come in to save us, right? We have all these incredible features now.
You mean like cruise control and lane assist?
Yeah, automatic braking, all of that. Don't those technologies help share the load and keep a fatigued driver safer?
Actually, the exact opposite is true, and I know this is highly counterintuitive.
Wait, what? How does that make any sense? If the truck is helping you steer, shouldn't that reduce the strain?
Well, it reduces the physical strain, yes. But physical strain is exactly what keeps a tired person awake.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it like that.
Think about the physical feedback loop of driving an older vehicle. You are constantly making micro corrections to the steering wheel, right? You feel the vibration of the road, you're pressing the pedals.
So that physical engagement forces your brain to stay awake.
It keeps it somewhat active, yeah. When you turn on cruise control and lane assist, you remove that physical engagement. You literally hand the vigilance over to a computer.
And your muscles relax.
Your muscles relax, your heart rate drops, and your body's fight against sleep becomes drastically harder to win.
So the technology is almost giving you this false sense of security. It's whispering, hey, you can relax a bit, I got the road.
And that relaxation is the exact trigger for the brain to finally shut down.
That is deeply unsettling, especially because we share the road with these massive vehicles every day.
It's a terrifying reality of highway logistics.
But let's take this logic and kind of zoom in a bit, because if that commercial truck driver is battling a rigid corporate clock on the interstate, the local city delivery rider is battling something even more insidious.
Oh, definitely. They are battling an algorithm.
And this shifts the focus from highway logistics right to our own local neighborhoods.
The gig economy presents a really fascinating evolution of this pressure. Consider a 20-something delivery rider on a two-wheeler just navigating through incredibly dense, unpredictable city traffic.
He has a smartphone mounted on his handlebars.
Yes, and that phone serves as his boss, his map, and his timer. Let's say he currently has 3 active food orders batched together simultaneously.
Right, and one of those orders was placed, say, 12 minutes ago.
And the screen is probably flashing red because he is already 4 minutes behind a delivery promise.
But here's the kicker, right? He didn't make that promise.
No, he absolutely did not.
The app made that time promise for him based on, ideal, completely frictionless conditions.
And when he fails to meet that algorithmic fantasy, the penalties cascade. The system doesn't just dock his pay for that one specific delivery.
It goes deeper than that.
Much deeper. Late deliveries lead to a lower customer rating. The algorithm uses that lower rating to deprioritize him for future orders.
Meaning, next week, he might just be locked out of the lucrative dinner shifts.
Which is a severe hit to his overall monthly income.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here again. I see the pressure, I really do. But nobody is literally forcing the rider to look at his phone while crossing a busy intersection.
I hear what you're saying.
Like, he could just pull over, check the map safely, and then keep going. Isn't swerving through traffic while looking at a screen still fundamentally a personal choice?
It definitely looks like a choice until you examine the psychology of the interface.
What do you mean?
Well, these apps are heavily gamified. They use psychological nudges, flashing timers, and constant notification pings that demand immediate attention.
It creates a sense of constant urgency.
Exactly. And if a customer messages asking where their food is and the rider doesn't respond promptly, the customer might complain to support.
Which leads to an immediate strike on the rider's account.
Right. The system is meticulously designed to reward speed and responsiveness, but it completely transfers the physical danger of achieving that speed onto a human body.
I have to admit, talking about this makes me seriously squirm.
It's an uncomfortable mirror for all of us.
It really is. Like, When I'm sitting on my couch, feeling a little lazy, checking the food delivery app, watching that little digital motorcycle icon slowly inch across the map.
We've all been there.
And I send a message saying, hey, it's been 30 minutes, where's my food? Am I actually becoming part of the hazard on the road?
It is uncomfortable to realize, but yes.
Wow.
When you send that message, or when you leave a bad review for a delay that was caused by traffic, you are applying the pressure that causes his attention to divide.
And divided attention is entirely different from full attention.
Because he is staring at the chat screen on his handlebars instead of, the pedestrian stepping off the curb.
The physical cause of the accident might be his diverted eyes.
But the algorithm and the consumer's demand for instant gratification, they created the exact conditions that made him divert his eyes in the first place.
So the financial risk stays safely on the platform's servers in the cloud.
While the physical danger settles entirely onto the rider and the pedestrians sharing those local streets with him.
It really makes you realize that the road isn't just a neutral strip of asphalt where everyone plays by the exact same rules.
No, it's an amplifier for economic inequality.
And that actually brings us to another layer of this, what we can call the economics of a dent.
This is a crucial concept from the chapter.
Because it's not just tech algorithms pushing people, right? Sometimes it's just the raw, unforgiving math of daily survival.
Let's look at the auto rickshaw driver as an example. For him, survival is calculated minute by minute, fare by fare.
Unlike the delivery rider, he isn't being pushed by a digital timer.
Exactly. He is visually scanning the horizon for his next meal.
Think about that split-second moment where he spots a potential passenger standing by the roadside.
He has to act fast.
He swings his auto rickshaw across 3 lanes of traffic just to grab the fare, completely skipping a basic 2-second mirror check.
And from the outside, looking from the comfort of a private car, it looks like pure madness.
You think, are they trying to get killed?
But the real question to ask is why they take that risk. It's because missing that single fare might mean missing a meaningful slice of that day's income.
If he hesitates, someone else will grab it.
This introduces the concept of the asymmetry of consequence. Let's imagine a minor collision between an expensive luxury SUV and that auto rickshaw.
Okay, I can picture that.
The physics of the crash apply equally to both vehicles. The metal bends. But the aftermath of that impact is entirely asymmetrical.
Let me guess, it comes down to the safety net.
Completely. The driver of the SUV likely has comprehensive insurance. They might have a backup vehicle at home or, the disposable income to easily rent a car. The collision is annoying. It's an inconvenience.
But for the auto rickshaw driver,
A single dent isn't just a repair bill. If his vehicle is off the road for 3 days for repairs, that is 3 days of zero income.
which can trigger a whole spiral of debt to loan sharks.
It is an absolute financial catastrophe.
It's kind of like, imagine a high-stakes poker game where everyone is forced to play at the exact same table.
I like this analogy.
But one player's betting with spare chips they found in their couch cushions, while another player is betting their rent money for the entire month.
And if they lose, they get evicted tomorrow.
Exactly. The desperation of your bankroll completely changes how aggressively you play your hand.
It forces your hand, really.
If taking a reckless swing across traffic is the only way to ensure your family eats that night, those 2 seconds to check the rearview mirror start to feel like a luxury you literally cannot afford.
The road essentially distributes its risks based on who has the capacity to absorb the damage.
The wealthy driver has a buffer of time, money, and metal.
And the poorer driver uses maneuvering and risk-taking as a substitute for that financial buffer they lack.
Okay, up to this point, we've discussed how these economic and algorithmic pressures force individuals into making bad choices.
Yes.
But we need to explore a completely different territory from the chapter, one that is honestly incredibly frustrating.
I know exactly where you're going with this.
What happens when the user does everything right? Like, they aren't speeding, they aren't looking at an app, they aren't desperate for a fare, but the road itself breaks its promise to the driver.
You are talking about the broken chain of infrastructure.
Yes.
This is where policy, bureaucracy, and coordination just completely fail the citizen on a massive scale.
The classic example given is the freshly paved road. You see a road get inaugurated, it is beautiful, smooth blacktop.
A perfect road.
And literally days later, you drive by and it has been violently dug wide open, leaving a massive, dangerous trench right in the middle of a lane. Like, why does that even happen?
It is a profound failure of systemic coordination. You have different government departments functioning in complete isolation from one another.
Silos, basically.
Exactly. The municipal corporation is given a budget to lay the asphalt, but they do not coordinate their timeline with, say, the telecom department laying fiber optic cables or the water board repairing pipelines.
But why wouldn't they just make a phone call? Like, why not lay the pipes and then pave the road? It seems so obvious.
Because they are driven by their own internal clocks and these use-it-or-lose-it budget cycles.
Oh, of course, budgets.
The municipality might lose their funding for the road if it isn't completed by the end of the financial quarter, so they pave it.
And then 2 days later, the water board gets their permit approved to fix the pipe.
So they bring in the excavators. They aren't looking at the citizens' experience. They're only looking at their departmental checklists.
And the driver is the one who suddenly hits a trench at 60 kilometers an hour.
And it's not just dug-up roads either.
Right. The chapter mentions highways legally signed for high-speed travel that abruptly lose their streetlights for a 10-kilometer stretch.
Or major multi-million-dollar overpasses built without usable exit ramps.
Just because the department building the bridge didn't coordinate land acquisition with the local zoning board?
The driver is doing what the signs say, trusting the infrastructure, and the infrastructure just completely betrays them.
This actually brings up one of the most critical insights from Chapter 5 regarding infrastructure. It's the clash between highway logic and village logic.
Yes, these are two entirely valid ways of existing, but putting them in the exact same physical space without mediation is lethal.
Break that down for me. What does that clash actually look like on the ground?
Well, a highway is engineered around a specific logic: maximizing speed, maintaining constant flow, and covering vast distances quickly.
It is a space designed exclusively for machines.
Exactly. But very often these massive national highways are cut directly through the middle of living, breathing settlements.
Settlements which operate on village logic.
Yes. Village logic is, cattle crossing between pastures at dawn. It is a slow-moving tractor pulling out of a hidden dirt lane.
Or children walking along the very edge of the asphalt to get to school because no one bothered to design a pedestrian footpath.
It is local commerce happening right on the shoulder of the road.
So you have a sedan doing 100 kilometers an hour, expecting a sterile, machine-only environment.
Colliding with a local resident who is just trying to buy groceries across the street.
And when the crash inevitably happens, the highway driver blames the, quote, idiot pedestrian for being on the road,
while the village blames the reckless city driver for speeding.
when in reality, it is a systemic failure to mediate between two totally incompatible ways of living.
If you build a high-speed corridor through a community without providing service roads, or without building underpasses for livestock, or installing enforced speed reduction zones,
You have essentially engineered a conflict.
yes, it isn't simply bad driving. It is an incomplete vision of development.
And that ties into a broader concept mentioned in the source material we are exploring today, referring to Viksit Bharat 2047, which is the vision of a developed India by 2047.
It's an important framework to consider.
And just to be clear to you listening, we are not taking political sides or endorsing specific political slogans here. We are just impartially exploring how the concept of national development is framed in this specific context.
The core argument in the text is that true development cannot just be about pouring more concrete.
Or boasting about the kilometers of road built per day.
Right. Development is incomplete if it doesn't prioritize human life. A 6-lane highway that allows rapid transit but leaves the surrounding community entirely exposed to high-speed hazards is a failure of intent.
True infrastructure development means the engineering of the physical road must be matched by the meticulousness and empathy of the bureaucracy planning it.
Well said. Empathy is the missing component there.
We have covered some incredible ground today. We started with the visceral anger of road rage, and we have peeled back layer after layer of the systems that actually create that danger.
It really is a lot to digest.
Let's distill the ultimate takeaway from this deep dive into Chapter 5. It really comes down to the realization that road safety is a deeply interconnected, shared ecosystem.
We are never going to solve the crisis of traffic fatalities by simply standing on a podium and telling individuals to be more careful.
Or drive safer. Not when supply chains, app algorithms, and siloed government bureaucracies are actively pushing those exact same individuals into making desperate choices.
Though recognizing these structural pressures doesn't absolve an individual of their responsibility behind the wheel.
No, of course not. If you drive recklessly, you are still responsible for the damage you cause.
But understanding the context completes the picture. It shows us that if we genuinely want to fix the danger on the roads, we cannot just police the drivers.
We have to fundamentally reform the economic and bureaucratic systems that lead to the road in the first place.
Because the road is just the final stage where all these invisible societal pressures finally play out in physical space.
Which leaves us with a whole lot to think about the next time we grab our car keys.
It really does.
So I want to leave you with a final thought to just kind of mull over. The next time you are out in traffic and a delivery rider cuts you off or a trucker drifts slightly into your lane, pause for just a second before you lay on the horn in anger.
Just take a breath.
Ask yourself, what invisible clock, what demanding algorithm, or what desperate financial calculation is sitting in the passenger seat next to them, gripping the wheel just as tightly as they are?